Morning everybody, hope you're all okay this morning. I think I might be a little bit on, no actually it's 11 o'clock so I'm not too late. I had a little bit of an issue this morning. I think my brain has actually stopped working as it should do. I popped to the shop this morning to pick up some bits and pieces and came home and left all the bits and pieces on the shop table, so I had to quickly whiz back down there. So I feel just a tad flustered this morning. But before I start the video, it's all right. I'm being interrupted, being spied on by my children. I just wanted to just explain to you how I'm feeling at the moment. A little bit surreal, to be quite honest with you. I almost feel like somebody's hit the reset button with me. Crafting for me has always been part of my life. I love running the shop and doing the workshops, but it becomes more of a business, obviously, than a pleasure as such. It's still a pleasure to do, but it's more you have to do this and you have to do that, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So for me, I feel like somebody's hit the reset button, and do you know what? I'm really quite enjoying doing the Facebook Lives. I'm really enjoying crafting just because I want to craft, whereas crafting because I have to craft. Does that make sense? So for me, as I say, it feels like somebody's hit the reset button and made me realise, you know, really what's important. And it's obviously the whole situation is not enjoyable, but I am actually quite enjoying doing what I'm doing here at home. So, you know, good comes out of bad, and you know, it is what it is. And I do feel that it's, you know, gives you a step. You have to take a step back, and you have to realise that, you know, it is what it is. And as I say, I'm enjoying crafting again. So anyway, I'm not going to babble on for too long because you don't need to hear all about me. But hi Jan, good morning to you too, and hi Lindsay. I'm pleased that you're all watching. Okay, so today we are going to create this. Now this can be for a card, it can be for a journal background, anything at all, piece of artwork that you might want to hang up in your house. It will go in a 3-dimensional frame. You don't have to do this this size. You can do it any size you want, A4. You just add more to it. Hi Sheila. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off. I'm going to point you down so you don't have to look at me anymore. Oops, hang on a sec. Not too. Okay, what have I done now? I think hang on a sec. Oh, technical issues. Such a technophobe. No, I need to pull that up a bit. Hang on a second, guys. Okay. Right, okay. Super. Okay, right, okay. I'm there. Now, today I am using watercolour card. This is Creative Expressions watercolour card that we stock in the shop. 300 GSM, I think. Don't quote me on that, I'm sure it is. But watercolour card is very, very absorbent. And because we're using Brusho this morning, I need something that's really going to soak up that colour and soak up that water. Okay, so this has been cut to approximately 13 by 20 centimetres, and that enables it to sit on an A5 card quite nicely. But as I said, you can do any variation that you want to. So the Brusho that I'm using this morning is orange. Hi Beverly. Black and rose red. Okay, so I'm using those Brushos this morning. Now, for those of you that haven't used Brusho before, I don't take these tops off. Okay, I just pierce myself a little hole in the top, and these lovely pins, and you can pick these up really cheaply in B&M stores, places like that, and pop that on the top. Okay, and that means we can sprinkle with them. Now, when you're applying Brushos, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can either put your powder down first, or you can put your water down first. It's entirely up to you. I prefer to put my water down first, then I can see how my powder's spreading and where it's going. So it's just down to personal preference. But to start with, and I've actually got a spray bottle that works this morning, you'll be pleased to know. So I'm going to give my card a nice downing of water. Then I'm going to add my rose red. And I am just going to tap this on. So I'm just tapping. Okay, so there's not a lot of powder going on there. Very little does go a long way. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to add a little bit more water because I want to move that around a little bit more. And can you see the way that just sort of moves itself? But because it's watercolour card, it doesn't run straight off the card. I'm going to add a bit more water because I do like the runs. Excuse the pun, but I do like seeing runs in my work. There we go, lovely. Right, so that's the rose red that's gone down on there. So now I'm going to use orange, and I just love it once you've got the colour down, how this just, it's almost like a firework display. Can you see? There we go, just a little tap. Again, you don't want too much, and I'm going to add a little bit more water. So this is why we're using watercolour card, because this really soaks up the water. If you did this on normal card, you'd just end up warping the card and it'd end up just like a soggy mess. And now I am going to add my black. Now black is a really special brush. So black has got all different types of colours in it. It's got turquoise and all sorts, you'll see as I pop it on. Hopefully all the different colours that come out of this one. A little bit more there. Okay, so just a little bit of black. So can you see all those different colours coming through? So there's blue, you've got black, you've got a bit of yellow. It's lovely. I'm just going to add just a little bit more water. So this is using Brusho in their very simplest form. Okay, there's lots of different things you can do with Brusho. As I say, this is in its simplest form, but you can create a really beautiful background. So let's just have a little mop up. Now I'm using just I don't know, dishcloth here. But the reason I like this dishcloth is that if you see here, can you see these little marks here? Morning, Debbie. If you see these little marks here, they are from me pouncing on here and just diluting some of that colour. But can you see the lovely sort of, there, leaves a really lovely pattern. So again, that was just a bit of a happy mistake. I just thought, oh, I like that, adds a little bit more texture to it. So that's it, lovely. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to have a little mop up. I didn't actually wear the right coloured clothes today, did I? A white shirt, not the most cleverest of things to wear, but hey ho. There we go. So that is my background. Okay, I'm just going to give that a blast with the heat gun. Just to dry it off. Just a little bit. We're going to leave it to dry anyway, because we don't need to go onto this background for a little while. I'm going to create our flowers. I am just going to give it a quick blast because it is quite sodden. And I've got a bit of glitter in there as well. I don't actually know where that's come from. It's probably come off of my cloth, but yeah, there's a little bit of glitter in there as well. So, mind you, wherever I tend to go, whether I've glittered or not, I always end up with glitter on me. Right, okay, so what we're going to create next is these flowers. Now, these are from Tracy Scott's new release. They're not online yet. You can only actually get them in store at a craft shop. Okay, we do have them. So if anybody did want to purchase them, you can, and I could send them to you. But we are going to use Tracy Scott's ETS 40, which is this one here, which is the beautiful leaves. And we are going to use ETS 41, okay, which is just some background marks. Now I am also going to be using ETS 27, which is an old one of Tracy's, for the sentiment, which is fly high, fly free, which, you know, is quite apt at the moment, really, I think. Right, so to do our flowers, I'm going to be using red lipstick. So let's put this one first. So I'm just going to put some colour straight onto there today. Paintbrush. And I'm just going to colour this in red paints, red lipstick paint, which is just a really beautiful, vibrant colour. Love it. There we go. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is, again, you can tell which colours I've got at home, can't you? Because we're using red lipstick again, and we're using the one that I can't pronounce, Leon. We're using that one too. And just imagine you're all laughing at me at home because I can't say it properly. But here we go. Yeah, the leaves are lovely, aren't they? Margaret, you can, I'll pick the message up, obviously, when I finish today. And if you could just inbox me your telephone number, I will give you a call and we'll get one sent off to you. I'll give you a call. We can take payment over the phone and I'll get one sent off to you. Right, so I'm just making a mess, and here we go. That's my blue. And then for the flowers and the little leaves, what I have done is I've used some cut and dry foam. Let me just give this a quick clear up, because otherwise I'm going to end up with my sleeve in it. Okay, so I'm going to grab some cut and dry foam. This is what I would have prepped had I not been rushing back to the shop to get my watercolour card, because I am such a wally. I had to go round to the co-op as well and grab some milk and some wraps, and oh my goodness, what a nightmare, what a nightmare. I do honestly think that people are, I don't know, I'm not going to say, but some people, honestly. Okay, so I am going to add some red, and I'm going to add some ochre. I'm not saying that right either, but hey ho, you all know what I mean, and I know what you mean if you ever wanted any, and I can get that for you. So we are going to grab another piece of card, and we're going to first of all go down with the turquoisey one, because this is an opaque. Okay, so opaque means that you can't see through it. So if you're ever laying up colours, you can either add a little bit of water to the opaques, which will make them not so heavy, or you just lay them on first. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of colour all over here. Again, I'm using the Paper Arcy Fresco paints because, in my opinion, they're the best. I love them. Now, I'm going to give that a quick blast with my heat gun, because, again, like the other colours, I don't want them contaminating each other particularly. There we go, just a quick dry. And then I'm going to pick up my red. And I'm going to go in with the red. And the red will lay on the top of the turquoise. Okay, if I want to blend that a little bit more, get rid of those hard edges, I'm just going to go over the top again. So can you see that blends that out a little bit? Okay, don't worry too much. You don't have to be too worried about this, because once you stamp it, you're only going to see very, very, very small sections of it. Okay, can you see in the leaves? You can only see very small sections, so you know you won't see these big lines. Okay, right, in with the ochre, which actually is my real go-to colour at the moment. It's a real beautiful goldy yellowy colour, beautiful. I'm just going to add a bit down here and a bit over here just to bring that colour in. There we go. So you can see I've got a very sort of rainbow effect on that piece of card. Okay, right, let me just have a quick tidy up. Let's wipe this down. I'm not normally this tidy. I'm really not. It's only because you're watching. I don't want you all thinking what a mucky pup I am. So keep it all nice and clean. Try and create a good impression. I do try. Or as my mum would say, yes, Sharon, you're very trying. Okay, right. So there we go. Next, let's just see. Right, so that's nice and dry now. So I'm going to leave those to one side to dry, and I'm going to go back to my piece of watercolour card. And for this, I'm not actually going to use my acrylic block, okay? I'm going to use the colours from before, apart from that one. So I'm going to put a little bit of red lipstick on here. And I'm going to take this stamp here, which is out of set ETS41. So I'm picking up the paint from my mat onto my cut and dry foam, which pretty much creates like an ink pad. And I'm going to tap that very gently on top of my stamp. Now, what I don't want to do is push really hard, because I don't want that. I don't want the paint going into the grooves of the stamp. Okay, and it's really important when you use paints on your stamps that you wash them afterwards. Okay, because you don't want a build up of paint on your stamps. So you can see that that adds a really lovely effect on the side. That's all right, Louise. You can play me back and listen to my mad ramblings. The mad ramblings of a crafty woman. Actually, that could be an actual video bit. Oh, don't drop it, will you? Doesn't matter if you do. Anyway, right, let's go onto there. And I'm going to add one more up the side, okay, because I want it to be nice and balanced. So I've got the corner. So I've got the corner here and the corner up here, okay, and that keeps it nice and balanced. Right, that can go in my pot of water. Now, next one that I'm going to do is the turquoisey one, which is this one. So a little bit of turquoise down, and you really do only need a little bit with these paints. A little bit goes a long way. So again, onto my cut and dry foam and tap very, very lightly. Okay, and that's from the same set. Okay, and let's go down the side and a little bit over this side. What I'll do is I'll stamp all this and then I'll show you the end effect. Again, very, very light tapping. I always tend to work in odd numbers, like a florist, 3s, 5s, 7s, purely because it's more pleasing to the eye. The eye balances it better. There we go, beautiful, love that. Straight into water, there we go. Yes, beautiful set, Louise, it really is. The flowers and the background bits, lovely. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I've forgotten these. Okay, these are also part of the same set, so I nearly left those out. Let's do those in this colour as well. Okay, again, stamping up in the same way, applying the paint in the same way, and then on like so. You can use an acrylic block if you want to, but I quite like the fact that when you put it down, you get some of it. It's a bit sort of hit and miss, and I quite like that in my journaling, in my card making. And I'm going to put one more at the bottom there, I think. Yep, lovely. So there we go. Okay. So I'm going to put that to one side for the moment. Put that into water. Pop these to one side, and we're going to go back to creating our leaves. So here's our leaves. I've got 1, 2, 3. These I am going to use a block for, and we're going to use archival, okay, because archival is a permanent ink, and we're stamping on top of paint, so I want something permanent. You could use VersaFine Clair, which is this one, which is more pigment based. However, if you do use VersaFine Clair on top of this, it will take a lot longer to dry. So what I would say is either throw an emboss. If you've got the time to leave it, then fine. I'm not sure actually if it will dry eventually. It probably will, but you need to throw embossing powder over the top. So you can either throw a clear embossing powder over the top or a black or whatever one you have, and that will heat set it for you. Right, so let's get on with stamping these up. So my flower is the multicoloured one, and you need to stamp this twice because you're going to create this double layer. Okay, so we're going to stamp that twice onto here. Now, what I do is I lay my stamp down, okay, still holding on. I'm going to apply the pressure, even pressure, and then just leave it for a minute because you want that ink to draw into the paint as best it can. Okay, and then up, and you'll be left with a really lovely imprint like that. So you can see that once we start to cut that out, you're not going to worry about all these bits, okay, because they just blend in on that flower. So we need 2 of those, and I'm not actually going to sit here and make you sit through me cutting them all out because that would just be so boring. So I'm going to stamp that one down. In fact, I've not actually given myself a lot of room. So again, holding on to the acrylic block, put your stamp down, even pressure all over, let it sit just for a minute, and then take it off. Now, you can see on that one, I've missed a little bit here. But that doesn't matter because I'm layering up my flowers. Okay, so I will use that one as a base, and then when I cut this middle bit out, that will go over the top, so you won't see it. So I'm using that for that. That can go in the wash. And then I'm using the small leaf. Again, the small leaf is for the multicoloured, and you can just pop that in and around where you've got a bit of space. When you do it, use a bit bigger card than what I've used. There we go. Okay, and you're going to stamp 3 of those. So let's just, so like that. So you're going to stamp 1, 2 and 3 of those. So it's like Blue Peter, isn't it? This is one I've done. This is like, oh yes, yeah, Sharon, you should have been a Blue Peter presenter. I'm just going to say it's like Blue Peter. Here's one I done earlier. Love it. Do you think I've missed my vocation? Right, okay, so next we're just going to stamp these. You'll see that my stamps are black already. Now, before I use my stamps most of the time, my rule of thumb, but I can't say that I do it every single time, is that before I use them, I always, I can't remember the word now, oh gosh, I always prep them with archival, okay? So I ink them up, I'll stamp them like I've just done there, and then leave that to dry. And that actually puts a protective coating on my stamp, and they stamp so much better. Especially your polymer ones, the clear ones. If you always prime, that's the word, prime them before you use them, you will find that you do get a much, much better stamped impression. So we're going to have 2 of those, and you want 1 of the red. Okay, let's just pop that one in the middle. And then what you're going to do, you are going to cut, yes, cut, there is no die. Tracy, you need to do a die. You're going to cut all of those out, okay? So I have done one already, okay? I didn't have time to do all of them, but I have done one. So just to run through how I've put the card together, what I've done is I have stuck with double-sided tape. Okay, you must use double-sided tape because if you use wet glue, it's just too much moisture on here. Okay, I find it lays nice and flat when I use a glue. Double-sided tape. So what I've done on this one is I've gone round the edge like I did yesterday. I'll do it for you so you can see what I did for those of you that weren't here yesterday. So yesterday I used my egg. I've got 1 egg, 1 smoothie that I use for all my black, okay? So I'm going to ink that up and this just saves on dark card, black card, backing card, okay? Us crafters are all really frugal. So I'm just running that down So that's what it's like without it. Oops, sorry. That's what it's like without it. And this is what it's like with it. So you can see the difference. See how that just really makes it pop. Okay, and you'll do that round on all four sides. So to put the card together, what you need to do is you need to take your red one and then you'll stick that flat down. Okay, so stick your red one flat down onto your card, again with a blue one as well. Okay, you'll then take your flower and you'll stick it over the edge. Okay, so stick your flower over the edge, flat with glue. That's the base one. So that's the whole of this one. So you'll cut that right out and stick that overlapping. You'll then cut out this middle section. So the middle section that you need to cut out, and if I just go around it with a white pen, you can see. Can you see? So it's this, white pen's not working very well, but it's this section here. Okay, so you're going to cut all that out, and then with a foam pad you're going to stick that on top of the one that you've stuck down with glue. Okay, then you're going to flip it over and you're going to trim, and what you take off of here you're going to add on the other side. Okay, so you've got two flowers, and actually we've got an even number there, but because of the other bits on it, it still sits comfortably with the eye. Once you've done that, you need to take your other flower and pop that on foam pads. Okay, lay that across the top, and the same with these. So I've got one here on foam pads and another one on foam pads over the top. I've glossy accent, so once I've finished and once I've put my white detail on, so I've gone round with a white pen, you can see I've dotted in the leaves, I've gone round these with a white pen on here and in the middle of these, and then I've gone over with glossy accents. Okay, that's the very, very last thing you do. I've stamped Fly High, Fly Free, and I actually used VersaFine Claire for doing that and left it, and it's fine. It's sunk into the watercolour card. Okay, but yeah, so that's what you do, and then you do your glossy accents right at the end. When you use glossy accents, remember to leave the card flat. You must leave it flat, otherwise these will run. Okay, and if you want that nice glossy look, then you must leave it flat so it dries evenly. I have also gone round in white pen down the centres of the leaves as well. Okay, when you're using glossy accents, just a rule of thumb, if you get any like little bubbles in there, just prick them with a pin. Okay, otherwise you'll end up with a little hole. And never shake your bottle, never shake your glossy accents bottle, because you'll create air bubbles in there. So that's today's card using Tracy Scott's new release, as I say, which is when the stamp set's in. Can you say? Yes, of course I can. I've actually got the leaves in, Louise, so I can put one aside for you. What we're doing at the moment is we're taking payment over the phone, and for local delivery we can actually deliver that to you if you would like us to. We're doing a shop knock and drop, so we will bring it to you, we will drop it on your doorstep and knock. I went out and did quite a few of these last night, so it works really well at the moment. So yeah, just inbox me your telephone number, and then I can give you a call later, take payment and drop it off to you. But the stamp sets that I've used, for those of you that weren't there right at the beginning, this is ETS 41. That's Tracy Scott's new release that isn't online yet, but we have got it in store, so you can get it from me. And ETS 40, which is the leaves. Tracy does have a third stamp set, which we've sold out of, which is the butterfly with the flower. And I will be doing something with that next week, and I'm hoping to get some more stocking of that. So, without further ado, I do like that saying, don't I? I hope you all enjoyed today. As I said, stay safe everybody and keep well. Don't go out unless you have to, because the amount of people that I've seen out and about is just incredible. But I'm really, really enjoying doing these, and so long as you're enjoying doing them, then I'm happy to carry on doing them for the foreseeable future until we're back to normal and back at the shops. So I'll be having the weekend off. So Saturday, so today is Friday, isn't it? This is surreal because I've lost all track of time. So today's Friday. So Saturday, Sunday, I'll just be posting up various different things that I've been doing over the weekend. And then on Monday, we'll be back at 11 o'clock. I think this is probably quite a good slot for us to do. So 11 o'clock, we'll be back. And on Monday, I will be doing alcohol inks with the lift pad. Okay, so that's a request from Lorraine, which I shall do over the weekend. And as I say, so it's alcohol inks, Yupo paper, and the lift pads, which are these. Okay, the alcohol lift pads. So we'll be using those for our technique on Monday and creating a card with those. But keep well, everybody. Stay safe. Love to you all, and I will see you on Monday.